Good evening. Before I start, I'd like us all to just take a moment in memory and honor of Sandra Bland and my grandmother, Dorothy Ferguson, who both passed away this year. I was raised in North Dakota, and I actually knew more about farming than feminism and more about Girl Scouts than Gloria Steinem. And now I have Gloria Steinem on speed dial, and I'm the CEO and president of the Ms. Foundation for Women. The work around equality has been going on for a very, very long time, and in fact, before the term feminist or feminism was even on the books. People like Ida B. Wells and Audre Lorde and Bella Abzug all worked in the field of fighting for equality. At the Ms. Foundation, we've been doing this work for 40-plus years. On our wall are three very basic principles around igniting change, creating connections, and building strategies for stronger movements. We do this in a variety of ways, and our work is about making that change happen. Like many of you, I do not come from a place of privilege, but being able to do the work that I do on a daily basis is a point of privilege. You see, I walk down the paths that I did not pave, and I stand in the shade of trees that I did not dig, and I drink from wells that I did not dig. I am a very fortunate person, but I believe we all have an obligation to maintain those paths, to water those trees, and to dig more wells. I invite you to do that as we strive across this country to build the movements that are taking place on the ground. It is incredibly important that we listen and understand to what is happening whenever and wherever we are. When I started with the Ms. Foundation just a year ago, I looked at this great big country, and I realized that what was happening in Brooklyn, New York, was not necessarily what was happening across the country. So I went on a nationwide listening tour. I traveled 30,000 miles to 40 cities and met with hundreds and hundreds of people. And as I met with those individuals, I learned three very basic and succinct components. One, and good luck to all of us, people want to be part of it. Whatever it happens to be, they want to do it. They also want to be part of communities that are diverse and inclusive, and their voice can be heard. And finally, most important to some of the work that we are doing, I found that feminism is strong and well and alive throughout this country. I believe in the social, political, and economic equality of all genders. That is my definition of feminism. That is what makes me a feminist. And as it relates to the work that we were doing, we did a poll, and we asked people across this country whether they define themselves as a feminist. And while at the core they believed in feminism, they didn't necessarily believe in the core principle of calling themselves a feminist. But when we gave them the definition of the social, political, and economic equality of all genders, that number changed from 16% who identified to 52% that identified. You see, the definition of feminism that we use at the Ms. Foundation is one that is inclusive, one that reflects and acknowledges the diversity of individual lives, one that allows us to show up for who we are, where we are, and when we are, and that is what's so important to the work that we are doing. It is critical that as we have a conversation around labels or not labels, that we fight for the same values and principles that are so important to the work that we are doing. We believe at the Ms. Foundation that we are not working on women's issues. That marginalizes the conversation that we are having. Instead, we believe that we are working on issues that affect the lives of women. And when we do that, we work on a variety of issues. And those issues go from top to bottom. So we're able to challenge the NFL and their culture of sexism and violence. We're able to challenge what is going on state-sponsored violence as it affects women of color and trans women in this country. And we're able to call and hold accountable the Learning Channel and the work that they are not doing and now going to do around child sexual abuse. You see, there is more work to do, and we at the Ms. Foundation are ready to do it with you. We are excited, and I will leave you with this. Be the kind of activist that when your feet hit the ground in the morning, the devil says, "Oh shit, she's up." Thank you.